Music is the purest form of artistic expression. It is the one thing that unites the whole world. But when business gets involved in the art, it ruins it. You might think that being a famous musician is all about fame and fortune, but behind the scenes, there are a lot of shady practices, exploitation, and corruption that goes on. In this video, I'll tell you about the dark side of the music industry. One of the biggest issues in the music industry is the exploitation and abuse of young and vulnerable artists. Many of them start their career as teenagers or even children, and they're often manipulated and harassed by powerful figures in the music industry. For example, Britney Spears was sexualized and objectified by the media and her manager since she was 16 years old. She couldn't take the pressure and finally acted out, which led to her estranged father becoming her legal conservator since 2008, meaning that he controls her finances, personal life, and medical decisions. The conservatorship was ended in November 2021 after the hashtag Free Britney movement and huge pressure from her fans. Other examples of artists who have suffered from exploitation and abuse in the music industry include Kesha, who accused her producer Dr. Luke of sexual assault and emotional abuse for years, and R.Kelly doing R.Kelly things, and Michael Jackson, who faced multiple allegations throughout his career. R.Kelly's crimes were common knowledge in the industry for like 2 decades, but it took a docu-series to come out for him to be finally convicted. These cases show that the music industry often protects and enables the abusers, while silencing and shaming the victims. The horrible treatment of boy and girl groups in the US and the UK went to the K-pop industry and has now been exported worldwide. How a 13-year-old Justin Bieber was treated by all those grown folks was disgusting. Most artists turn to drugs in order to aid their creativity or to cope with the huge amount of pressure they're under.
I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, shrooms, everything, and it was just an escape from me.
The record labels also feed their addiction. This is evident in the alarming amount of artists that lost their life due to a drug overdose. Juice WRLD, Amy Winehouse, Mac Miller, Prince, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, Whitney Houston, just to name a few. That's good news for the record labels as they only make more money because of the death clause. Record label executives fueled the East Coast and West Coast feud. While they hid in their bunkers, we lost 2 of the brightest stars in hip-hop, and they benefited more after their passing. Record labels are the bad guys of the music industry. Another big issue in the music industry is the unfair contracts that many artists have to sign with their record labels. These contracts often give the labels a huge percentage of the artist's earning and creative control over their music. The labels keep a cut anywhere from 50 to 90% of the artist's earnings, and the artists usually only receive 10 to 16% of their sales. Labels usually have ownership of their masters too. Owning the masters means that the label can profit from the artist's music for decades, even after they're dead. For example, Michael Jackson's estate still earns millions of dollars every year from his masters, which are owned by Sony Music. Many artists have tried to fight for their masters, but they often face legal battles and threats from the industry. For example, Prince famously changed his name to a symbol and wrote slave on his face to protest against his contract with Warner Brothers. Taylor Swift recently had a public feud with her former label Big Machine Records and Scooter Braun, who bought her masters for $300 million without her consent. Kanye West also went on a Twitter rant against UMG and Sony Music, claiming that they won't allow him to buy his masters. But nobody listened to him because he's Kanye. You can just go independent and succeed. But that is unlikely because the labels control every mode of distribution in the music industry. They control streaming because they have a direct deal with streaming services. They control touring because they have a deal with Live Nation. They control physical sales because they have deals with the pressing plants. Then they came up with a 360 deal, so they can get a cut from everything including merch sales, endorsement deals, and songwriting royalties. The big artists can overcome their bad deals, but the mid to low level artists suffer because they are not able to sustain their lives with the income from their music. But because everyone likes music, there are always a huge number of people trying to be a part of the industry. This leads to predatory behavior. Another issue in the music industry is the corruption and fraud that affects the quality and integrity of the music. Many artists resort to cheating and buying their way to success, using methods such as payola, bots, and fake streams. Payola is the illegal practice of paying radio stations and playlists to play certain songs more frequently. It initially started in the early 20th century, when the music industry was controlled by the mob. Bots are software programs that generate fake views, likes, or comments on social media platforms or streaming services. This was evident last year, when Atlantic Records was exposed for botting YouTube views. Fake streams are when artists or labels use multiple devices or accounts to play their songs repeatedly on streaming services. In 2020, Billboard disqualified 6ix9ine's Gooba from the charts, accusing him of using bots and fake streams to boost his numbers. Then 6ix9ine exposed Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande for doing the same thing. But nobody listened to him because he's 6ix9ine. The charts and awards are often influenced by politics, money, and personal agendas. These examples show that the music industry is not always fair and transparent when it comes to measuring and rewarding success. Matter of fact, it's usually not. The music industry is not all bad, of course. There are amazing artists who make great music and inspire millions of people. There are also many good people who work hard and ethically in the industry. But we can't ignore and deny the dark side of the music industry, and we can't let it ruin the music that we love.